Now let's jump into rogues. Are we positive about rogues or are we negative about rogues, Nathan?
Okay, so rogues
Yes.
are my favorite class, going back to when they were called thieves.
Same.
And they had a 4-sided dice, and they've graduated to the 8-sided. I like most of what they've done with the rogue. My favorite thing is that there's an ability that they can use. It's at level 14. It's one of the new
Devious
cunning abilities, the devious strikes, where they can make you unconscious if you fail a saving throw. I'm looking for more things like that in this game, more things that kind of get past the mountain of hit points that can happen at high levels to make the game more exciting. This is actually my favorite thing that I've seen in this edition.
It's big,
but I haven't looked at
statement.
everything.
That's great. What is the 1 minute fall? Oh, they fall unconscious for a minute.
And a saving throw at the end of
Going
each
ahead.
of their turns.
I mean, that
It's like a bruiser.
is deadly.
That's their version of stunning strike, I guess.
So let's hypothetical scenario. You knock at that level a fire giant unconscious.
That's what I'm saying. Is there a size?
And then
can you do it to a dragon?
well, okay, let's say it's
Doesn't say you can't.
Snidely Whiplash, a level 15 necromancer, and you knock him unconscious. Can you? I mean, I guess this is just up to. Would you rule at your table that the party could then just like decapitate him
In most situations,
if
it's a human,
they're unconscious, they're prone.
Yeah.
Presumably they're prone.
Double damage.
And they are, well, they're not paralyzed, right?
But they're still unconscious.
incapacitated.
Well, that's not what it says.
Yeah.
It only does what it says.
Yeah.
So they're unconscious, they miss their next turn, and they're going to make a save at the end of that turn. To me, you're probably going to get a round of advantage
It's
attack.
critical hit. It's automatically a critical hit.
Creature have
Oh.
advantage, automatically a critical hit if the attacker is within 5 feet of the
So
creature.
melee. So as long as you're in melee with this creature, you should be able to unload massive damage.
Yeah.
My question is, do they wake up when they get hit once?
right?
I
That's
feel
what
like
I'm
they
saying.
would. I feel like regular rules would apply, but I don't know what the regular rules are going to be in the new edition. I
So
also
legendary resistances.
I just want to throw out there that pouring gasoline on someone is not an attack
Well,
until you light it.
but just because I think Nathan touched on something that's really important that I got me excited, was thinking about how you could use that to not make the hit point slog so bad. But if that doesn't end the fight, and I know it's up to whatever the DM says, and that's fine. But in my mind, it's like, okay, can unconscious be the end of the fight, and then RP the rest of it? I mean, that's just something to throw out there in the world. If you're a DM, to consider allowing your players to do.
I mean, that's how I think of it.
Okay,
So that you can provide the cinematic end and not have them for 2 hours going back and forth.
I also feel like it comes out at level 14, so you're fighting
14.
You're fighting creatures, monsters, bad guys that are higher level, and is that a little OP to just like, DM throws a big bat at you, which it doesn't say there's a size thing, like a dragon comes at you and the rogue just bonks it on the head and this thing goes unconscious for a minute. It seems a little
Well,
unrealistic
it'll make a save at the end of its
Right.
turn every time. So it's probably only going to be one round.
if you're lucky enough to get it.
Yeah. And
You're giving
like,
up 66 to your damage
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to give up basically what could have been 36
Right.
points.
Which I do like. I do like the trade-off of the buying. It gives you a choice of, do I want to do 66 damage or do I want to sell, give away 3 or 66 or 2 or whatever it is to do this thing. I do
I'm
like that.
hoping there are more things like this in this game, specifically coming from monsters. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things like this that will it's kind of harkening back to the old days where saving throws were a bigger deal.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of first edition D&D, you didn't know if you were going to live or die. You had 100 hit points, but you're like, I can fail one roll and that's it.
Yeah.
And bringing that back is a good thing.
And you'll be fighting, if you're fighting enemy spellcasters, they could just be like, I reckon you've got less than 100 hit points, power word kill.
Right.
So it's their version of that,
Their
right?
version
So it's
of
just
that.
giving a player something that isn't quite as good, but is close.
Yeah.
Another thing to think about, they're really pushing rogues into a more martial territory with all these options, right? It's essentially giving them their own maneuvers, which we've seen in a couple of these classes we've discussed. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was somebody who made up a whole psionics class, put it through a UA, or one of the old psi dice features. And they went, no, we're not doing that, sorry. And they went, well, just cross out psionic dice. I'll write sneak attack dice. And I'll see if they notice that I just used my
Slide
horn
it in.
again. I mean, that is how I would be building some kind of psionic. I'd be
Soul
giving
knife.
them a pool of dice. Not the soul knife, I'd just be giving them a pool of dice to use the way that this rogue is using their dice. Or the way a monk would use focus points.
Do you lose those dice? You can
No, not these
No.
cunning dice.
Yeah, you don't lose them, right?
You don't
Yeah,
lose
yeah,
them just
yeah,
for that
okay.
one attack.
Just for
There's
that
no
one
like
attack.
recharge or anything. Okay,
Right.
yeah, okay.
It's not like you have a pool of 12d6 and every time you spend them.
Oh, and I do like the buff to the assassin thing because
What's the buff?
Well, it's not really a buff, but you know, you can maybe use it more than once a campaign or something.
Yeah. Yeah, because it used to be you needed to get surprise and act before them. And
Yeah.
you would be like, guys, please let me sneak into this building. Please let me sneak into this building to do
yeah.
this.
Also feel like I feel like just in general for this version of the game that they're pushing more multi-classing. So it being what we were talking about with the cunning strike, the level 14 ability, how many rogues are actually going to get to level 14 because you're going to be multi-classing. So it also feels like it's almost like a bonus, like, oh, you went pure rogue and you went to 14, you didn't spread yourself out, or maybe you did spread yourself out, you don't get it, you know, when everyone else is level 14 because you have 3 or 4 levels in other things. So I do feel like it's a little OP, but maybe it balances with multi-class.
But maybe there'll be new exciting feats because I don't know if we've seen all the feats. So
True, very true.
anyway, let us know what you think. Rogues, are you happy about their maneuvers and their martial abilities, or are you wanting them to be more what? You want them to be more magical?
No, I'm doing this so that when they look over here at us, there's like a fun, do you want a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Do you want Sean
Let's
to
cut Sean out.
live or die? No. So let us know what you think in the comments about rogues. Are you happy with the changes? Do you like that they're more martial? They have a little more technicality to them in a lot of ways. Let us know, and don't stab your neighbors.